Back to Couch Casual, where today we are going to continue once again our division preview, where we preview every division and then every single team. Today we are going to be talking about the AFC South. And before we get into this preview, let me remind you to leave a like on the video if you enjoy. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more content, and also turn that notification bell on so you're updated every time new videos drop here at Couch Casual. And also in the comment section, make sure you are letting me know what you agree with, disagree with, and let's quickly get into this preview. And the first team we are going to be discussing is the Tennessee Titans. Titans, I believe last year, I forgot the Titans record. Last year, the Titans finished with 6 wins. They finished 4th in the AFC South. And again, unfortunately, I do have them finishing 4th here as well. It is a very good division, but let's quickly now look at the offense. So obviously, they picked Will Levis in, I'm pretty sure, the second round last year. He had that insane first game against, I think, the Falcons, where like 3 touchdowns, or DeAndre Hopkins also had 3 touchdowns. It was crazy. But I still really like Will Levis. I still think he has a future and potential to be a possible franchise QB for the Titans. They obviously picked up Tony Pollard because they lost Derrick Henry. I do like the running back duo of Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. When we kind of knew Derrick Henry was going to leave, I was kind of excited for Tajay Spears to be the guy. But I'm not mad at paying Tony Pollard. I'm not quite exactly sure how much they paid him, but I do like the duo of Pollard and Spears. The Titans spent a lot of money. They also brought in Calvin Ridley as well to pair him alongside Hopkins, and another receiver they paid, Tyler Boyd, because they did draft Treylon Burks, who has had a somewhat slow start to his career. So you give Will Levis, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. You still have Treylon Burks, but you also have Calvin Ridley, D-Hop, Boyd. I also like Okonkwo, Chigazine. I definitely mispronounced that, but Okonkwo. It's a pretty good surrounding weapons for Will Levis. I think this offense can actually be pretty good. Peter Skoronski is obviously good. I like J.C. Latham out of, I believe, Alabama. Raduns. Cushenberry's a solid center. It's a decent offense, and if Will Levis can take that step up, it could actually be a very good offense. And then looking at the defense, they drafted T'Vondre Sweat, I think, out of Texas. They have, of course, Jeffrey Simmons, one of the better interior D linemen in football. Their linebacker, I really like Harold Landry. They did pick up Kenneth Murray, who I did have as my breakout player for the Titans. We'll see what he can do, and maybe all he needed was a fresh start. And another guy they gave a lot of money, they spent money on this year was L'Jarius Sneed to pair him alongside Chidobe Awuzie. They also have Amani Hooker as well. It's a pretty good secondary. Combining that with Jeffrey Simmons, the defense can be very good as well. I feel like the defense will be their downfall of the season. And again, it's a very tough division. Texans obviously got so much better. The Colts are getting healthier with Anthony Richardson. The Jags are still good, especially if Trevor Lawrence can take that step up. So I do unfortunately have the Titans finishing at 6-11. I do have Will Levis winning or being their MVP. If I feel like a quarterback deserves it, I'm gonna give it to a quarterback because that's how the real MVP award goes. But I do have DeAndre Hopkins. It was tough between Ridley, Pollard, and Hopkins as who I wanted to give their Offensive Player of the Year to, but I decided, despite his slight regression he may be having, I did want to give it to DeAndre Hopkins. It's not just because of that one game that Will Levis had in his first game and how Hopkins went insane. I didn't like what I saw from Calvin Ridley last year. Tyler Boyd, I never really know because he's playing with Higgins and Chase, and Burrow is also injured. But I just think Hopkins will have a pretty good season. And then their best defensive player, it was between L'Jarius Sneed or Jeffrey Simmons. When Sneed and McDuffie were in the same secondary, I really liked Sneed and him, and they had one of the better duos in football. So now you bring him over to Tennessee with with Chidobe Awuzie. I know Jeffrey Simmons is the franchise defensive player on the Titans, maybe even the franchise player on that team, because he's been there for so long. But I wanted to mix it up, and I went with L'Jarius Sneed. And then the best rookie for the team, I decided to give it to J.C. Latham, tackle. He's going to start more likely than not. Great tackle out of Alabama. And I just think he'll be very solid next to Skoronski and Cushenberry as well at center. And that is it for the Titans. And next team we have is the Jags, the team that I do have finishing third. They did finish second in the division last year with a 9-8 record. However, I wasn't too much of a fan of their offseason. I know Calvin Ridley struggled, but they replaced him with Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas, who I don't like. They obviously paid Trevor Lawrence. I know some people are hating on that extension. It is a lot of money, but with the market, in like 4 years, Trevor Lawrence could be like in 4 to 5 years, Trevor Lawrence might be like the 5th highest paid quarterback, 6th highest paid quarterback. It's just how the market goes, so I don't hate the contract extension. But looking more into the offense, obviously Trevor Lawrence, very good quarterback still. I don't know why we've all of a sudden thought he's just not a good quarterback. Travis Etienne, I really like Travis Etienne. Now, I mentioned the receiver core with Kirk. I didn't mention Kirk, but Gabe Davis, who they paid this offseason, Brian Thomas, who they drafted, and then Christian Kirk. Also have Evan Ingram, who is in that like top 8 tight end conversation. So it's a good surrounding cast around a good quarterback. Their O-line, Brandon Scherf, I think hasn't had the best career in Jacksonville after getting paid a lot of money. Cam Robinson is decent. Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse. It's an okay O-line. Not the best. It could be a very good offense because Trevor Lawrence could take that step up. I do like Tank Bigsby from Auburn as well. Dearness Johnson is cool. But again, when they paid Christian Kirk all that money, everyone thought it was an overpay. And then obviously he didn't play up to that contract, but he still was a very good receiver. And I think Gabe Davis can do very similar things. So I think it will be a very good offense. Defensively, I think maybe could be their downside, at least compared to their offense. Now, they do have a good front seven. Eric Armstead, Josh Allen, the Jaguars, Josh Allen, obviously one of the better pass rushers in football. Foyesade Oluokun is great. Trayvon Walker showed a lot. He definitely showed flashes towards the end of the year, had a bit of a struggle, and then everyone's comparing him to, Aiden Hutchinson. But he definitely had a better year, too. And then their secondary, Tyson Campbell's good, Ronald Darby, Darnell Savage. I feel like their secondary is going to be what lets them down defensively. Because that front seven is very good again with Armstead, Allen, Oluokun, and Walker. But I know they finished 9-8 last year. But I just feel like the other two teams in this division are going to have better records. And I do have the Jags finishing 7-10 now. Before you get too mad, I definitely could see them winning 8 or 9 games. I do have them finishing third with a 7-10 record. I do have Trevor Lawrence winning MVP as well as Offensive Player of the Year. I think he'll have a great season. Josh Allen I have as their Defensive Player of the Year. As I mentioned, one of the better edge rushers in football. And then I went with the best rookie for them. I did go Brian Thomas. He is the wide receiver 3. I don't see anyone outside of Davis and Kirk taking any meaningful quantity amount of reps away from him. So I can see him having a very good rookie season. But I do have them finishing at 7-10, third in the division. And the next team I have is the Indianapolis Colts, who also finished 9-8 last year, third in the division because of a tiebreaker with the Jags. But of course, the big story was Anthony Richardson. I think he was the 4th pick. Comes in, starts off amazing, and then he has that injury. But looking at their offense, I think Anthony Richardson is going to bounce back. He's my breakout player for the Colts. I think he's going to. I mean, he didn't play bad at all. He just got injured. So as long as he stays healthy, I don't see any reason why he won't go back to what he was doing before he got injured. Jonathan Taylor could be in line for a great season after kind of hitting maybe a slight regression post-injury and post that amazing season he had a few years ago. Michael Pittman's obviously a great receiver. I really like Josh Downs. A.D. Mitchell, potentially steal of the draft, the fact that he fell that far. Alec Pierce is a solid guy. Their tight ends are okay. Kyle Granson, Mo Alley-Cox, Jelani Woods are all okay guys. Their O-line, obviously, is still very good now. Hopefully Quentin Nelson can bounce back to what he used to be and go back to being one of the better interior linemen in football. Ryan Kelly's still good. Braden Smith, Raymond, Will Fries. It's a good O-line. Anthony Richardson, if he breaks out like me and a lot of other people think he can, this offense could be very good. Maybe even arguably a top 10 offense. Maybe even statistically a top 10 offense just with Richardson's rushing upside. But then looking at the defense, their front seven is pretty solid with Grover Stewart, Buckner, Kwity Paye, and Ebukam. They also drafted Leatu Latu as well. I like their linebackers. Zaire Franklin, one of the better linebackers, like coverage linebackers. Secondary, Juju Brents, Julian Blackman, of course. Kenny Moore's back. It's a good, solid defense, and I do think they will take a step up from last year. And I do have them winning 10 games, finishing 10-7. I have Richardson winning MVP. I think his total counting stats are just going to be very good this year. So that made me even pick him over Jonathan Taylor for Offensive Player of the Year as well. I think he could have that good of a season. Defensive Player of the Year, I decided to go with Kenny Moore. An interesting one. I could have went with Zaire Franklin, but I decided to go with Kenny Moore. He was a free agent. They brought him back, and I think he'll have a great season. Then Rookie of the Year, it was between Mitchell or Latu, and I decided to go with A.D. Mitchell. I don't know why. I've seen some clips, I believe, in training camp. Not training camp, that hasn't started yet. Like OTAs and mini camp. He looks very good. I know it's just, can't really base that off anything, but I think he'll have a very good rookie season. And then the last team is the team I do have finishing with the best record once again, and that is, of course, the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud comes in, has one of the best rookie seasons for a quarterback ever, and you add Stephon Diggs, and their uniforms look a lot cooler as well. So looking at the offense, C.J. Stroud, obviously, top 10 quarterback in football, potentially after this year, could be in that top 5 conversation. You bring in Joe Mixon, we'll see. Joe Mixon obviously is a very quality running back. So we'll see how that is. But I just feel like they had very good success with Pierce and Singletary. But I think Mixon can add a little more, and we'll see if Pierce can get back to his former, I think rookie self is when he really played his best. But obviously the receiver core is what you got to talk about. Stephon Diggs obviously coming over in a trade, one of the better receivers. Yeah, he has maybe personality issues, but when it comes to playing football, he's one of the better receivers. Nico Collins had a breakout year last year, also got paid a lot of money, as he should. You obviously have Tank Dell, the later-ish pick rookie receiver who really played great before his injury. Don't know why he was on that play to get injured in the first place. And then their backup receivers have a lot of good depth at receiver. Robert Woods is still a quality guy. Noah Brown is still very solid. John Mechie can give you some sort of spark plays. Ben Ben Skoronek's not even that bad a receiver. For Ben Skoronek to be your 7th best receiver is actually pretty good. Their tight end is obviously really solid with Dalton Schultz and Brevin Jordan. I really like Brevin Jordan. Dalton Schultz is just a very good tight end. Very quality tight end there who they were able to bring back. And their O-line is even good. You got Laramie Tunzel, Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason, Titus Howard, Juice Scruggs. It's a very good O-line. Their offense could be very good this season. Defensively, I think they have a good defense. Obviously, you got D'Amico Ryans as your head coach, defensive-minded guy. I will think it will be worse than their offense, but that doesn't mean anything. Their offense could be like top 5, so their defense could be like 11th, and that is still obviously worse than the offense. But you got Will Anderson entering year 2. You replace Jonathan Grenard with Daniil Hunter, one of the better edge rushers in football. Their D tackles are okay, but their edge rushers are amazing. Linebackers very good. You bring in Azeez Al-Shaair to reunite with D'Amico Ryans. Christian Harris is a solid guy. Their secondary is pretty much just Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley. Jimmy Ward's actually very good. I like Jimmy Ward, but the corner depth of Jeff Okudah, C.J. Henderson, and a rookie Kamari Lassiter. We'll have to see about that. I do like Kamari Lassiter. I think I've heard good things about him so far this offseason. But he is a rookie. Rookie corners can have their struggles. And then you pair that with Okudah and Henderson, who haven't panned out very much despite their high draft picks in recent years. So I do think their defense won't be as good as their offense, but that doesn't mean by any means that their defense will be bad. And I do have the Texans finishing with an 11-6 record. I know it actually seems low, but you're in a tough division, and you don't really see teams winning more than 14 games, so 11 is only 3 shy of that. I could easily see them winning 12. But MVP, I do have C.J. Stroud. You saw what he did as a rookie. The numbers he put up, I don't see his numbers getting much worse when adding Diggs and Mixon in a year or 2. So definitely could be the best player on the Texans. So I also think he'll have a good enough season to be the best player on offense. And then when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year, it was between Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, or Derek Stingley. And I decided to go with Will Anderson. I know Daniil Hunter is the more proven, established veteran who they paid a lot of money for. But I really like Will Anderson. It's not obviously a controversial thing or anything, but I think he's going to have a monster year too. And Rookie of the Year, I mentioned Kamari Lassiter. I think he has had a very good offseason. So I think Kamari Lassiter, despite being a rookie corner, I think he could easily take over Jeff Okudah's spot. I don't think it's that hard to do. Okudah played decent on the Falcons last year, but that's why I'm giving the Rookie of the Year. And quick recap, the Texans I have as the division winners, finishing 11-6, followed by the Colts at 10-7, the Jags at 7-10, and then the Tennessee Titans at 6-11. And that will be it for my AFC South preview. Again, let me know in the comments what you agreed with, what you disagreed with, and also make sure you like the video, subscribe, and turn that notification bell so you don't miss more amazing content over here at Couch Casual. And I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.